Today I'm gonna be talking about the most underrated roller coasters in the world, and in yesterday's video I was talking about the most overrated coasters, so this is so obvious I need to do this one. And there are also many reasons a roller coaster could be underrated. These coasters could be standing in remote locations, and they could also be overshadowed by other roller coasters nearby, and it could also be because I don't feel like these coasters get praised too much in the coaster enthusiast community. And I've collected a total of 15 underrated roller coasters, so let's get right into this video. Coming in as the first coaster on this list, we got Furius Kärnan at Europa-Park. In all honesty, I don't really think this roller coaster gets praised too much, and I actually think it's because of the German name and the remote park it's in. Furius Kärnan is a Gerstlauer infinity roller coaster. In my opinion, this is the biggest and baddest masterpiece Gerstlauer have made. Now I'm gonna do some spoilers, so watch out. This huge infinity coaster has a twisted 200 plus first drop in an enclosed tower. Furius Kärnan really has two big secrets. The first one is a vertical lift hill that has a drop tower element that's just so crazy, and the last one is a hang time filled hardline roll at the end. This coaster has one of the best first drops in the world. The airtime is crazy, the speed is crazy, it mainly stays low to the ground, and overall just a masterpiece. And now coming in as the next coaster on the list, we got Hyperion at Energylandia, and in all honesty I think Hyperion gets overshadowed by Sadra in the same park. Hyperion is a huge intimate mega coaster that stands as the tallest roller coaster in Europe with a lift hill, and when I visited in the East in 2022 I actually thought that Hyperion was better than Sadra. Hyperion really has a world-class layout with many different elements. You start off with an almost 300 feet first drop that's almost vertical, and after that you have one of the best camelback hills in the world with projectile airtime in my opinion. The turnaround section is a very weirdly profiled dive loop, and this just gives ton of whip when you sit in the wing seats. And after that Hyperion mainly stays low to the ground, and it goes into these very whippy wave turns. The only thing I think is a bit dull on this roller coaster is the floater hill. And now coming in as the next coaster on the list, we got Legend at Holiday World. Legend overall is a very lengthy and big roller coaster made by CCI, but unfortunately this roller coaster gets overshadowed by its big brother the Voyage, of course. Just like the Voyage, Legend really has a very lengthy layout, but this roller coaster mainly focuses on the lateral G-forces. This coaster mainly lacks airtime, but that's okay with me because every turn you just get slammed into the side. Legend really has a very lengthy layout, where the first section is a very out and back looking layout, and after that you have a twister section in the end. So traveling over and under water rides and into the woods and then back again is just amazing. But I'm not really sure where to sit on Legend, so let me know, is it back row, front row, or something else? And now coming in as the next coaster on the list, we got Formula at Energylandia. Now we're back at Energylandia again with this small and compact Vekoma new gen coaster. Formula features a very short and punchy LSM launch into a hang time filled inversion, and after that you just have a relentless pacing on this ride. This coaster really has a great combination of whippy inversions, airtime hills, and low to the ground turns. The inversions are sharp, the airtime is strong, and these turns are also strong, and after that the ride is done. And in my opinion Formula actually feels a bit longer than it really looks, and we need to mention that Formula was the comeback roller coaster for Vekoma. And now coming in as the next coaster on the list, we got Revenge of the Mummy at Universal Orlando. And this indoor roller coaster slash dark ride is really one of the best attractions in Universal Orlando. Revenge of the Mummy really exceeded all my expectations. Combined with amazing theming and dark ride section, this roller coaster layout is also so amazing, man. This coaster has a very punchy incline launch, and after that you have many airtime moments such as small dips and airtime hills. This coaster is also filled with jump scares and amazing theming. My favorite element of Revenge of the Mummy is of course the incline launch with the airtime hill, and then after that you have a dark ride section where fire comes up, and it's just so amazing looking. Just watch the video. After riding Revenge of the Mummy, many other indoor slash dark ride roller coasters really disappoint me because I think it's just like this one. And now coming in as the next coaster on the list, we got Katun at Energylandia, and I think yet again this is a coaster that gets a bit overshadowed by Ice Speed. To be honest, I like Katun a bit better than Ice Speed. Katun is really one of those huge B&M roller coasters, and this one is just so intense and very smooth. The trains on Katun are so long, and when you hit that huge first drop you actually get a lot of airtime, especially if you sit in the back row. And after this huge first drop you just hit these large inversions, and they are so forceful. Katun also showcases crazy speed with an overbank and low to the ground elements before the inversions. And these two back row rides in the steaming hot summer actually made this my second favorite B&M invert, just behind Monto. And now coming in as the next coaster on the list, we got Furius Baco at Port Aventura. This was actually the first prototype wing coaster by Intamin, but it's known for being way too rough. In 2021 I felt like I was dying, but in 2023 I actually enjoyed this coaster. First of all, this coaster has a hydraulic launch, and this hydraulic launch is so fast and crazy. And this coaster mainly stays low to the ground with twists and turns in the trenches with very high speed. Furius Baco also has a crazy hang time filled inline twist. Fortunately Furius Baco has this over the shoulder restraint by Intamin, but if you put your head forward you can actually survive this coaster. So overall a crazy and bizarre roller coaster by Intamin, but I think it gets overshadowed by Shambhala and Red Force of course. And now coming in as the next coaster on the list, we got Space Mountain at Magic Kingdom. This coaster may be old and outdated compared to the other ones, but I think this gives the best ride experience in my opinion. For me, Space Mountain at Magic Kingdom will always be one of the most fun and out of control roller coasters I've ever tried, and Space Mountain roller coaster layout is really relentless if you sit in the back row because you just have sharp turn, sharp dip, sharp turn, sharp dip, and it actually features ejector airtime, and these laterals are so strong. What's really fun about this roller coaster is that you almost ride it in complete darkness, so you never know what's coming. So please go out there and take a back row ride on this old roller coaster and see what you think. And now coming in as the next coaster on the list, we got Falcon at Forbes Sommerland. And of course I had to choose a roller coaster located in Denmark, but this coaster is a small scale wooden roller coaster by SNS, so that means it's very rare. But these rare SNS wooden roller coasters haven't been known for being the best. They are very rough, but this small scale wood really has many airtime moments. And even though this roller coaster isn't that tall or lengthy, this roller coaster really packs a punch. I really have a love-hate relationship with this coaster because the airtime is strong and great, and after that you just have these turns that are just so unbearably rough. But after that airtime hill again, yes, great, and then you have this final helix, and it is so rough. I really want to die after that one. Now coming in as the next coaster on the list, we got Fahrenheit at Hershey Park, and I really think that this roller coaster just gets overshadowed by every other coaster at Hershey Park because they really have quality rides here. But Fahrenheit is overall just a great and forceful vertical lift coaster by Intamin. Fahrenheit starts off with a great beyond vertical first drop, but after that I just think this ride gets better and better the longer you go into it. Fahrenheit is overall just a decent coaster until you hit these very whippy corkscrew inversions. They are just so fast paced and filled with positive g-forces. And for good measure, Fahrenheit also packs in an airtime hill at the end, so that's awesome. So for me, Fahrenheit is just a great ride. And now coming in as the next coaster on the list, we got Fluch von Novgorod at Hansa Park. And this secret roller coaster might be the best Gößler or Eurofighter in the world. This is actually the second ride on the list located at Hansa Park because you got Sword's Kärnan and then this one. And when we talk about the Eurofighter, we have to talk about the uncomfy over-the-shoulder restraints, but this coaster is actually very smooth, so I don't get that headbanging experience. Fluch von Novgorod has a world-class Eurofighter layer with a dark ride section, and then after that you have one of the most punchy LSM launches ever. After that you have ejector airtime hill, wave turn, strong positive g-force, turnaround section, and a good hardline roll. When you think this coaster is done, it goes up a vertical lift, beyond vertical drop, and another few elements, so it's just world class. And now going back to America, we got Lightning Run at Kentucky Kingdom. This coaster is actually the prototype Hyper GTX model by Chance Rides. This coaster really looks like Chance Rides' take on the Intamin Mega Light. Lightning Run really has a punchy layer with many airtime moments, and you start off with a great drop, especially in the back row, but after that you just have airtime hill, turn, airtime hill, airtime hill, airtime hill, and all these airtime hills just hit different. But Lightning Run really has a difficult job because it's going to compete with the Storm Chaser coaster at the same park, and I really think that it's 50-50 which coaster you like better, because Lightning Run's coaster trains are great and smooth, so I like it. And now coming in as the next coaster on the list, we got Voltron at Europa-Park. Voltron is of course a whole package deal. It has lengthy and amazing layout with many forceful elements, and on top of that you have world-class theming, of course. I've seen many coaster enthusiasts saying it's way too rough, but hear me out. When the roller coaster opened, they had a few trains that were quite rough to ride, but now all these problems have been solved. I won't go really in depth with this roller coaster. It's just so lengthy, it packs a punch, it has many bizarre elements, punchy launches, it really has everything. This coaster also packs in some of the best roller coaster elements I've ever tried on a coaster. And I've seen Voltron is number 18 on Captain Coaster, but I really think it should be in the top 5. Just like Velocicoaster, Voltron is an all-inclusive package. And now coming in as the next coaster on the list, we got Rutschebahn at Tivoli Gardens. And this is actually one of the oldest wooden roller coasters in the world. Rutschebahn is actually from 1917. And funny enough, this roller coaster for me is actually the best ride in Tivoli Gardens. This old wooden roller coaster really has a very lengthy layout that goes in and out of this huge mountain. If you sit in the front row of this ride, it is very boring. But if you sit in the back row of this coaster, you get ejector airtime on every hill. It's also very cool to see that this old wooden roller coaster has onboard brakeman. Now coming in as the last coaster on the list, we got Nemesis Inferno at Europa-Park. When I visited the UK, this was actually one of the most surprising coasters on the trip. And of course Nemesis Inferno gets overshadowed by Nemesis Reborn, but I don't really think there's so much difference between these two coasters. Nemesis Reborn isn't the biggest roller coaster, but it really has a very punchy layout with many punchy elements and whippy inversions. This coaster also has a cool pre-lift section going through a tunnel through this volcano with mist and red lights, of course, but the location on Nemesis Reborn is just a bit better. So now we finally come to an end of this video. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Have I missed some roller coasters on the list? Let me know in the comments, and of course at the end of the day I'm always gonna say bye bye.